What it do, people? Welcome back to the show. In this episode right here, I'm going to be responding to a comment. Somebody asked me about Aryan Brotherhood, my time, my experiences doing time in prison. Well, I'm going to get right into that. But first and foremost, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, get that life insurance policy. Don't play with that. That shit is important. Take care of business. Period. Okay, so this episode, this story right here is, it's not a near-death experience. Hold up, y'all like me in red? Yeah, once upon a time, you would never see me like this. But you know what this represent? This represent growth. This represent maturity. That's what this represent for me. This don't represent blood. This represent growth. This represent maturity. And anytime you see a blood member, somebody that you knew from back in the days that was an active blood that used to never wear blue, and you see that person with blue on, that's what that represent. That represent growth. That represent maturity. That mean a motherfucker done grew up, right? You what the fuck you want to wear. You ain't even giving a fuck about that shit no more. That mean you done grew up mentally. You done grew beyond that box that you've been living in. Outside that circumference, that motherfucking circle that we've been stuck in. So that's all this represent. You know, I think I kind of look good in red. Somebody once told me that. I don't know. Pretty decent, though. I got to represent the brand all the time. And if you haven't already, please like that website. Go check it out, wrongenemy.com. I got all this shit on there. Holla at your boy. So this story right here is going to take place in San Diego, California, DONAVAN Correctional Facility. Now, before I get into the story, let me say this. It's early again, y'all. It's early. You know, I got to get it in when I can get it in. But anyway, my time doing time in prison, I started doing time in prison in '88. That was my first time in the prison. And when I started, I went through Chino, which was the reception center for everybody in Southern California. And from there, I went to Jamestown. Now, that's Jamestown. I was on 1 yard, which is level 1. In those kind of prisons, you don't run across nobody that's no real Aryan Brotherhood or no real BGF, Black Guerrilla Family. You don't run across people like that in level 1 prisons. Because people like that is usually locked up in the SHU program. SHU meaning Security Housing Unit. So when you got that kind of stuff on your file, they know you're affiliated with those type of games. You don't be allowed to roam in these kind of prisons. Unless you a dropout, which meaning you got booted, you just gave up, or you're not a real one. If you was a real BGFs, if you was a real Aryan Brotherhood, you wasn't roaming around in level 1 prisons in California. That was not happening. Y'all was pretty much in the SHU or in the higher level, which is a level 4. And at that time, in '88, the only level 4 prisons we had in California was Folsom and Tehachapi Max. Yeah, because San Quentin at that time, I don't think San Quentin was still level 4 at that time. It might have already been converted to level 2. But if it was, it's just San Quentin, Folsom, Old and New Folsom, and Tehachapi Max. That was your level 4 prisons at that time. So, and the level and quite a few level 3s, Tracy, Soledad, so on. At this time, there was no Lancaster prison. There was no Calipatra, Centinela. There was no Ironwoods, Chuckawallas. There was none of this shit. None of that. All that's new. Avenal had just opened up, and that's a level 2. So anyway, it wasn't likely to see a real Aryan Brotherhood roaming around on the 1 yard in Jamestown or a real BGF. Although there was perpetrators. At this time, the brothers from up north, you know, they represent the BGF. I mean, that's more strongly from the up north area. They always wore these little black bands, and everybody at the time thought those black bands mean he BGF. So my first time in prison, I'm looking at everybody like they're BGF because they was pushing 415 and they was BGFs. And 415 is the area code from the Bay Area. That's what the brothers from the up north, they represented. And they wore red. So again, they whole issues was with the Crips. But now, anyway, there was no real Aryan Brotherhoods floating around. I didn't run across real Aryan Brotherhoods until my second term in prison, until I made it to Folsom. So that's why I ran across a real BGF cast. Shout out to my man Faru. Faru schooled me on a lot of shit when I got to old Folsom back when I was like 19, 20, something like that. That's the first real BGF I knew in Baby Ray. Shout out to both of them cats wherever they at. I hope Faru and Baby Ray made it out, but they were some good brothers. Actually, Baby Ray was my celly. OG BGF cat was my celly. So let me stay on point to what I'm talking about because this is about Aryan Brotherhood. I'm just speaking on that to use an example of where you will find Aryan Brotherhoods and BGF's at, because that's old. That's an old movement in the prison system. That movement was really strong and going on before I came into the prison system. The Crips pretty much did away with the BGF, so they and whatever, they just gone. Crips pretty much came and took over shit, and the Bloods and as well. But the Aryan Brotherhood kind of just like, I don't know. They just not. It wasn't around during my time. During my time in prison, we dealt with Nazi lowriders and skinheads. But the Nazi lowriders kind of just fizzled out as well. They started locking all them dudes out, so you don't really hear about Nazi lowriders no more. But it's more so just skinheads. Now, about me dealing with Aryan Brotherhood cats, pretty much is the same with me dealing with the skinhead cats. Because now, the question you were asking me, my experiences with them, it wasn't real Aryan Brotherhoods. It could have been a couple dropout Aryan Brotherhoods on the yard this particular day, what I'm about to share with y'all. But the Aryan Brotherhood movement was pretty much, but they still hold some weight. Don't get me wrong. They still hold weight amongst the white race in prison. There's still some floating around that still come that hold weight. So I'm not saying the Aryan Brotherhood is dead by no means, But still, because I can't speak on that, I don't know them. That ain't my position to really be speaking too tough on other organizations like that. So if I seem like I have been speaking against them, I apologize to them and the BGF cats, But just from my experiences coming up in the prison system, it was pretty much Crips, Bloods, catch them up north, Serranos, Norteños, and skinheads, and Nazi lowriders, and just regular white boys, and a couple ABs in between. Now, this story right here I'm going to share with y'all take place in 2004, RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, once again. This is all during the same time when I was there, when I met the girl, Sarah Perez, when I said how I met the chick when I was in prison, got with her, married her. This is during my whole 6 years I stayed in Donovan. And if you've been in Donovan for a long time, you're going to bounce around those yards at that time. Now it's not likely, because that prison is S&Y, majority S&Y, which means sensitive needs, which also mean PC. I think they have like 2 mainline yards. The rest of that prison is considered, to us mainline cats, is always considered it's no good prison no more. It's a bad prison. So people you might know that's in Donovan, and if they not, I believe, on that 1 yard or that 5 yard, which is a level 1 yard, and they're on any of those other yards around there, they're PC. So whoever watching this and you want to know about your family that's in Donovan, I'm letting you know right now, if they're on that 2 yard today, that 3 yard, and I believe that 4 yard was reception. If you're on any of those yards, you considered pretty much a PC, a sensitive need in prison. So, hey, that was a public service announcement for everybody who got family that might be in Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego, California. So at this time, when I got there, I came down there from Centinela. So I get there, I go to 1 yard first, then they send me 2 yard. I'm on a 2 yard. I'm on a 2 yard. Now, it's all level 3 prison. It's all level 3 living. Like I said before, Donovan Yard prison is set up like this. The yards are labeled alphabetically, numerically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas other prisons is A, B, C, D. So I was on a 2 yard, 2004. The same year the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons in the championship. We got different unlocks on the yard. So I think it was like a 9 o'clock unlock. Or was it 8 o'clock? I don't know. The next unlock was 10 o'clock. They give you hourly unlocks to go outside to the yard. So we had it to where the homies, like some homies that go out the first unlock, some homies that go out the second unlock. You can go out and stay as long as you want. You know what I mean? But we had to go to the yard at some particular time. That's how we had to do it. That's policy in there with Crips and stuff, Bloods as well. But with Crips, we got to go to the yard. You mandatory get your ass outside every day. You got to go outside. You just can't stay up in here and lay up in this cell and play with your dick and shit all fucking day and watch Jerry Springer and all that old bullshit. Get your ass outside, take your ass to school or something, go to work. But you're not laying up in this cell all day doing nothing. You're gonna do something. So I was going out at 10 o'clock unlock. And on my way outside, I ran across this old brother named Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson had been down a long time. He was my cellie when I first made it over there. He passed me up going through the rotunda. A rotunda is like the little narrow, like little hallway we walk through to go outside to the yard and then come into the unit. So I'm walking past him. I'm like, hey, what's up, Mr. J? What's happening, man? He said, hey, man, you might not want to go outside because there's a lot of them white boys out there grouping up. I don't know what's going on. I said, all right, I got to go see what's up. I got to go out there. I can't turn around and don't go. Like, nah, nigga, you know something going on outside. Take your ass out there. Some motherfuckers be scared. They know something's going on outside. I'm going back to the cell. But that ain't a good thing to do when you're in prison. If you active, period, you need to go out there and see what's up with your race, with your people, because shit gonna be happening and we're gonna be short on the yard. So take your ass out there. You be another number to help your folks. So I'm like, hell no, I'm going out there. So I go out and as soon as I come to the rotunda, I see a whole bunch of white dudes over here strapped up on the weight pile. The weight piles we work out at. Even though it's no more weights, there's just bars at this time. They got rid of the weights years ago. But we just still call it the weight pile because that's where the bars we work out at. So as soon as you come out, I could look straight across. Bam. Now, I was in building 8. Building 7 and building 6 was the whole in Donovan. We all had different sections in the prison where we all hung out at different cars. Different, meaning cars, meaning collective groups. So as soon as you come out of building 8, there was a table. I think this was, damn, was that this yard? No, that's 3R. Anyway, you come out and you go to the right. There was a like I don't say picnic. Y'all know I don't use that word picnic. Fuck that word. But anyway, this cement table right here, like kind of shit be in the park, in front of Building 7, is where all the LA Crips hung out at. And then you walk a little further around. There's another table by a light pole on the side of the basketball court, where all the San Diego Bloods hung out at. The LA Bloods pretty much hung out in that same area, like on the benches next to the basketball court. The San Diego Crips are way on the other side of the yard by building 2. So mind you, we way down here, this is building 8. No, that ain't building 2, I'm tripping, it's the wrong yard. But further down this way, I think that was building 6 or 7, some shit like that. I forgot the number, what the first building on the yard was by the gym. But that's where the San Diego Crips were on the other side of the yard. So I come out here, I go to the table. At the table, what we normally do is, somebody had like we had this little clear radio they homies had back there, the little CD player, tape player. So somebody always bring a little radio out to the yard. We sit at the table playing dominoes, drinking coffee, smoking joints and shit when we got them right in front of the hole and just kicking it. This is where all the LA Crips and non-San Diego Crips pretty much hung at. Meaning, if you was from Riverside County, you was a Riverside Crip, you was a San Bernardino Crip, Crips from up north, you got Crips from out of town that be out here. We pretty much all function over here at this table that's considered the LA Crypt Table. Now, so I go to the table, it's like only like, there's 6 homies at the table this day. I go out there. I'm gonna give y'all a roll call who was there. First person, my little cat, little H-Bone. H-Bone, he was from 5'9", who Fats from East Coast. Cass from Compton T-Zone. Little Devil from Oceanside Crook Mob Crip. JJ, aka Lil Bullet Loco from San Diego 4-7 Neighborhood Crip. And there was one of the Mayhems from 60s. I forgot which Mayhem he was. He's some cat, had a scar on his nose. He said he lived across the border. I don't know. It's a bunch of Mayhems from 60s, but he was one of the Mayhems. And then there was Janky, who I call Jank Dubious, also known as MC Ren's brother from Compton Neighborhood. So it was just us 7 at the table this day. So now the homie Devil from Oceanside, he pushed out to the center yard. I see him walk out and talk to 2 of these white dudes. Now, I see him talk to these 2 white dudes. I know who they are. They work together in the laundry room. So these are his co-workers. So he out there talking to these 2 dudes on the center yard like, you know, it's nothing. You know, you always see him with them. They work together. So they telling them what's going on or whatever. Now, the word is to us is that the white boys got something going on in the gym within themselves. Supposedly, coffee. A little creamer, coffee. Love coffee. Anyway, supposedly something happened with they people in the gym the night before. Some of they people got into it with each other, and they was out there trying to solve their own issue. And they was deep. I ain't gonna lie, they was deep as fuck. It was so many white dudes over there. I'm like, look at them motherfuckers over there. They was like, you know, San Diego got a lot of white dudes. San Diego got way more white dudes out there that's active than LA County dudes. So coming from LA County, you know, we don't see that kind of shit from, you know, white dudes ain't like that in LA County. Like, you know, but these motherfuckers out here, They from these little cities they got in San Diego, the Santees and all that shit. Yeah, them and the what's that, Cajones, Al Cajones and all them little cities out there. Yeah, they got some active white boys in San Diego. Skinheads. Let's get that right. I'll tell y'all about it. So, anyway, Devil talking to the dudes out there, and then Devil come back to the table. And Devil like, yeah, they talking about taking off. I'm like, you mean talking about taking off? He said, yeah, because this cat from Skyline, I ain't gonna say his name, Skyline, Pyru, San Diego. And this little white dude had some business going on with each other. So whatever happened, I think it was over $50 or $100. Whatever it was, the money didn't get to where it's supposed to got to. Now, these two been knowing each other. They've been doing business for the longest, but somehow some trickery went between the two and fucked things up. This is what happens in prison, people. This is how a lot of prison riots start, because of drugs, because business. It don't got to be necessarily drugs. It could be a bet. You could have betted on the basketball, football, baseball, whatever game, and you owe this man some money. Now, you don't want to pay. So shit like this happens in prison over debts and shit like that. You owe somebody want their bread. You don't give it to them. Hey, it's going to go to the next level. Going to get funky real fast. Prison. Real shit. Now, so they talking, and he tell them, he come back and tell us what they talking about. Like, yeah, they got an issue with him. They talking about they want to DP him. And I told him we ain't DPing our people. So right away, I like, bing, you're wrong, bro. You don't tell them we not going to DP our people. That's a blood, dude. Dude is a Pyru. You got to tell the Pyrus about that. You don't make decisions. Crips don't make decisions on bloods. You can't tell a blood. You can't tell another race we not going to DP our people unless the bloods told you to speak for them. And even then, you crossing the line. You a Crip. You stay in the Crip place. You don't deal with blood issues like that. You deal with black issues, but you don't deal with blood issues. If there ain't no bloods there and it's a blood here is fucking up and on some black shit, that's a different situation. But here it is. We're on the yard where a lot of bloods is at. So you got to bring that to the bloods. You got to let them know. So he didn't tell them shit. He just come and tell the white boys that we ain't going to DP our people. So now they go back. This is how it go. Two people meeting us in the yard, just like you see on TV, and they going to talk about some shit, and they going to make, like, what y'all going to do? But we ain't going to do nothing. Okay, and both sides go back to their respective corner. Now, when they go back to their respective corner, just like in the boxing match, you waiting for that bell to go, ding, ding. That's when it's cracking, right? So here it is. The two white boys go back to the rest of the woods. That's what we call the white dudes in prison, woods. They go back over there to the woods and to tell their people what's up. Devil come and tell us. So when he tell me that, I'm like, oh, nigga, you can't be doing that right away. So now here come my partner, Little Drama from Emerald Hills, blood out of San Diego. Little Drama coming over. So what's up? I'm like, hey, what's up, my nigga? Not telling him what's up. He said, yeah, the white boys getting into it with each other. What's up? I said, nah, nigga, they tripping off your boy from Skyline. That nigga owe them money. They want their bread. They talking about taking flight. And so he like, what? So he go back. He finna holler at my nigga L.A. from Lincoln Park and the rest of them over there. He go back, like finna push back over here. So as soon as he start walking back to where the blood table is at, you seen the white boys that kind of like, right away, they done made up their mind. What's up? We finna get cracking. So they start walking towards the blood table and they start hollering, hey, let the kid get a fade. They start hollering, let the kid get a fade, let the kid get a fade. The San Diego Bloods just turn around looking at, it might have been some LA Bloods over there, but majority everybody I knew was over there from San Diego. So somebody even made a little call, San Diego Bloods, mount up. San Diego Bloods, mount up. And it was funny. It was something like out of a movie, but it was serious, so you didn't have time to be like, I heard that nigga say, it didn't resonate to laugh. It was just like, nigga, this is finna go down. So the 7 Crips is right here, like, we like, boom, nigga, what's happening? So I'm like, well, we see them pushing, so like, y'all ready? So now as the white boys start pushing closer to the blood, they're like, let the kid get a fade. One of the white dudes picked up a big ass rock or something. I don't know how he got a rock off the ground and just threw it at the blood table, just like chunked that shit. Like, boom. So now we pushing the crack. What's happening, cuz? So now here it is. We meet the white boys head on the basketball court. We out there squabbling like a motherfucker. Check this shit out. I can't make this shit up. This is facts. Anybody that was in Donovan 2004 can tell you about the riot that happened on the 2-yard on the basketball court with the blacks and the white boys. 37 blacks. 37 blacks, 100 white dudes. And we did our shit. We were squabbling like a motherfucker. Now, mind you, out of the 37 blacks that's on paper is being involved on our 115s, or 115 is the write-up. And as you see on the schematics, because they always show when you're in the riot where everybody's laid out at when you come to the scene, they start cuffing us up and shit like that. But out of the 37 blacks, I'm going to say probably about maybe 30, 28 got cracking. 27 got cracking. Out of the 100 whites, all of them didn't get cracking. Because if all them white boys would have got cracking, they would have smashed us. And if the riot would have lasted longer, they would have smashed us. But being that the guards on the yard, they see the grouping on the yard. So that's their job to be like, look, you notice this race over here grouping, be ready. So they already pretty much in the window with their guns ready to start shooting and shit soon as some shit hit the fan. So they was already like peeping game. So like, okay, you see this shit and fucking up. So as soon as they start coming, and as soon as we got the squabbing, they was already hollering, get down and busting, dude, get down, dude. And they was running out the units, throwing the motherfucking grenade things and all this shit. So it didn't last long. Thank God for that. I'm not going to say that's another near-death experience. It could have been, but it wasn't. Anytime you're in a prison riot is a near-death experience. I don't give a damn. But it just, anything can happen. Especially when you're on a prison yard and you trying to fight, you know, you trying to defend yourself and handle your business, and then got these dudes in the tower shooting, you know, doom doom. Even though nowadays they mostly shooting block guns, but coming up in the 80s and the 90s, especially early 90s, they was doing a lot of shooting. They was shooting that real gun. So yeah, this shit is crazy. So that's what happened in Donovan, 2004, prison riot on the yard with the white dudes. Hold up, y'all. That right there was a crazy experience. You know, I don't. That was a crazy experience. Like I say, if it would have been longer, they could have done some things to us. If they all would have pressed together, they all would have been down. The squabble would have been down to get cracking. They would have done some things to us. And I want to give a shout out to all the San Diego Bloods and Crips out there that I know, period, that was involved in the riot, and those are just I know, period, from being in San Diego. If for those that's not from San Diego, people need you would trust me. If you do a lot of time in Donovan prison, you're gonna learn a lot about San Diego, and you're gonna know a lot of San Diego dudes, in particular the gang members, the Crips, the Bloods, the Skylines, the Lincoln Parks, the West Coast 30s, the Neighborhood 40s, the Emerald Hills Cat, the 5'9" Brim Cats, the O'Farrells, and all the other gangs in San Diego, all the cats that was be hanging in Spring Valley, my niggas from East Dago Mob, my nigga Salt, all them cats out there. Oh man, I done met so many dudes from Dago, just being down there for so long. Got love for a lot of them cats. The whole city of San Diego was, I got love out there. I like it out there. Shout out to all them niggas out there. They do they shit out there. Them niggas got some big ass gangs out there. For y'all that don't know, they active out there. They got a different type of politics going on in San Diego than we got in LA with certain particular gangs. As far as Blood and Pyru, that's something different out there. That's a little stronger in San Diego than it is in LA. But once again, my nigga Greedy Rue and all the rest of them niggas, oh man, that's just so many of them niggas I know, man, from Emerald Hills, man, my Crow, all them niggas, man, Brim niggas, my neighborhood niggas out there, my nigga little sneak around. Oh man, what's happening, bro? Calhoun, all my niggas out there in Dago, man. Shout out to all y'all. And once again, shout out to everybody who participated, who didn't fuck with me when I was down there in Donovan, that I know niggas that still show me love. Shout out to all you niggas, man. And like I say, prison is a place you really don't want to be, but if you're there, you got to deal with it. You got to learn to deal with it. You're supposed to grow in that shit. To me, I think that's what helped me grow up to become more of a man, to understand certain things. That's definitely where I learned my leadership roles at prison, because fucking politics taught me that shit. You had to grow up fast in that shit. But like I said, I didn't come up in a time when the Aryan Brotherhood was pressing like I used to hear they used to press. Now, like I said, shout out to them. I ain't got nothing to say about that shit, you know what I mean? But still, they had their moments. They was doing damage in the prison system as well. Like I said, the older cats, Big Q's, my G homie Spark, Tretch and Evil, hey, Neckbone Nugget, all these cats can tell you more about Aryan Brotherhood. But I can't, because that ain't really my era, bro. I started coming to prison in 1988. You got to talk about Aryan Brotherhood to know more about Aryan Brotherhood, to know more about the BGF and shit like that, as well as Blue Notes and CCOs and Vanguards and all those type of parties. You got to talk to somebody before my generation, because I didn't start coming in until the late 80s. These cats was dealing with that in the early 80s. These cats pioneered what we do now. I mean, so I salute all the homies before me that came through, that pioneered this shit, Crips and Bloods, because if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't have been able to come through the prison system and deal with the shit we deal with the way we deal with it, because y'all taught us something. So that's paying homage to those before us. paying homage to those who done taught us, who done taught cats like myself the shit that y'all done taught me. A lot of what I'm talking about now, my mentality, it comes from being in prison, being around certain type of individuals in prison who done just open my mind up, open my eyes to see different things and understand growth as a man. So I learned a lot in there. Prison is bad, but you can get a lot of good out of it if you want to. That's life. But people understand, grow the fuck up.